guys, welcome to a new video. Today we're finally reviewing Free Guy. Oh god, I wanted to talk about this movie for such a fucking long time. Let's just say this was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, so when it finally came out, I had to see it on opening night. So I did. And this movie was beyond awesome. I really loved it. Don't get me wrong, it's obviously not the best movie of this year, but it's maybe the movie I've had the most fun with this year. I mean, everyone knows I'm a fan of blockbuster movies and fan of Star Wars, fan of Marvel, fan of all the other things. This movie made me scream. There's a moment in this movie where I legit just screamed in the movie theater. It was that awesome. If you have seen the movie, you'll know which moment I'm talking about. And I just want to clear something up. Look at my body. Look at me. I could have been the perfect dude, don't you think? I would have been perfect. So yeah, Free Guy. Let's just say it looks an awful lot like movies like The Truman Show or obviously Ready Player One. It's not as good as those movies, but it has its own moments. And we all know this movie, it's based on Free City, a video game in the movie. But we all know it's just Fortnite and GTA 5 and all those other famous games mashed into one, and I love it. When Ready Player One came out, I said I really want a game like this, and then a Ready Player One game sorta happened and it was just not good, so that was sad, but I now really want a game like this, because Ready Player One was futuristic and it had giant things like VR and it was all of that. This movie is just someone playing with a controller. This movie is possible. This game and this movie could be made in real life. It is... Maybe this is GTA 6, if that shit ever comes out. So, Rockstar, you haven't made GTA 6 yet, you're making it right now. Destroy all the ideas you had and just make this game, because it's awesome. Thank you in advance. Catchphrase! As I said, this movie is, it just is the less perfect baby brother to Truman Show and Ready Player One. But that doesn't mean that it's not a lot of fun, because I had the most fun with this movie, even more fun than I had with The Truman Show and with Ready Player One. The story in this is very funny, it's very great, it's awkward, it's cool, it's awesome. And yeah, I have seen the complaints that everyone just wants to go back to Free City all of a sudden, and everyone just wants to see what's going on there, and that the real world doesn't really care, and that the real world doesn't really make a lot of sense in this movie, and that the real world just isn't good. The real world was boring. I did not agree with that opinion. I think, yes, Free City is a lot of fun, and I know Free City is the place I really want to see in the movie, and I know that place is the most fun part of the movie and I want to be there, but I didn't think that the real world was such a problem in this movie. I loved it for what it was okay. I had a more of a big problem with Taika Waititi's character than with the fact that we were going to the real world often. More on that later. And for once in my fucking lifetime, I am so incredibly happy that Disney owns the movie industry. Because if Disney owns the movie industry and you give Ryan Reynolds creative directory on what you're gonna do in your movie, it will be awesome. And this movie is the prime example of that. He knows what Disney owns and he uses it to the fullest, and it's awesome, and finally it works. Story 160 to 200. Also, the characters are very funny. And yeah, I know Guy just is Ryan Reynolds playing an NPC Ryan Reynolds, but it works. Ryan Reynolds is one of those few dudes who can play the same character every time again and again and again, but it keeps working. You have actors like Jason Statham, and I think he's a good actor, but he does always the same thing, and sometimes it's kinda annoying that he's just the muscular dude with a grumpy voice. For Ryan Reynolds, for some reason, it keeps working. His humor is just so good. And let's talk about Dude. Maybe the best casting I've ever seen. It was so incredibly funny, and the scene with Dude and Guy is so fucking awesome, so good. I loved it. I can talk about that scene for days on end. And I do have to say that there was a great chemistry in this movie. The girl, which sadly I forgot her name and I can't look it up because my phone is batteryless, but she was awesome. I forgot her name, so that's not good, but she was awesome. And she had a great chemistry with Guy. I do have to say it was awkward because she's real and he's an NPC character who's fake, but it worked. It was awkward, but it was great. And what I wanted to talk about was Taika Waititi's character. I forgot his name too bad because I've seen this movie like a month ago. But his character maybe could have been fleshed out more. It's not, I don't know, I didn't like his character. He was a total douchebag, and I know that was the way they intended to make him, but I just couldn't see Taika Waititi in this role. And I know it sounds very hypocrite of me because I just said that I like it when an actor does something different, and for Ryan Reynolds he doesn't do something different but it works. Taika Waititi does something different than he normally does in his other movies, but just this time it annoyed me, and I didn't hate his character, but I didn't like him. Characters 175 to 200. Okay, the budget for this movie was great because the CGI in it was awesome. It looked fucking awesome. It looked great. It looked very good. Well, apart from Dude, but that was just the way it was intended to be. And the pacing was very great too. Yeah, I don't have anything to say actually. This movie just looks awesome. For style, I'll give this movie 125 to 150. Like I said earlier in this review, the ending of this movie was a real Disney fest, but it worked in a way I hadn't even thought of before, because I didn't know that they were going this hard with references. And normally a movie doesn't need to be built on references because it's just annoying and then the story doesn't get the full potential it was going to have, but for this movie it's again works. Yes, the entire third act is built upon its references to other franchises, but it didn't destroy the story for what it was. It was really great and it worked. Although the story was kind of predictable. Surprisement 60 to 100. As I said before, Taika Waititi did not do the best job he could possibly do, but he was still decent enough to make a good performance in this movie. His character did do himself justice. He was rightfully cast for the role. He did just fine. Ryan Reynolds was just being himself, and I love him for that. He was the best part about this movie. He is this movie. He makes this movie. This is his movie. The rest, who I forgot who it was, they were fine. Acting 120 to 150. The critics thought this movie was pretty okay. They give it a 62 to 100. What I don't agree with, because I give this movie a 40 to 50. And I legit laughed my ass off, so I'm going to 4 stars and a heart, 45 to 50. Granting this movie a total score of 787 or a 7.9 to 10. Have you seen Free Guy? Let me know in the comments down below, because I'm really excited to hear your thoughts about it. Give a like to this video, subscribe to my channel, and I see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.